Hello, Internet.
Hello, folks. We're back again. Another episode of ChEffect, our local first meal planning app that we're writing with both Effect and LiveStore. And we did not recap off stream this time. I figured we'd just recap with you all. So maybe we can figure out from our to-do list where we left off. I think Tim has our to-do list.
It is. So we were working on the meal planner, and we were integrating the data model because it was using fake data. So we were switching using LiveStore.
All right, so we're going to wire all of that up, I guess.
I think I did this cross-screen. Let's have a look. So I think in domain we had a meal plan entry, which had an ID, recipe, or the day. Schema. And then the tables, we had a meal plan table with the ID, the recipe ID, and the day. We'll put that index on the day looks right. Queries. Meal plan entries. So we get start day. And then we create an array of weekdays. So the start day and then the remaining 6 days of the week. I did this off stream, so it collects SQLite has a JSON object API function thing. And that maps over the schema fields and turns them into columns. And kind of like turns it into a JSON object. And the day and the ID are straightforward. So we select for the meal plan, join the recipes on the recipe ID, and then we select all the days that we're interested in order by the day as the title. And then it uses our domain model, the array schema specifically. I think what I had to do was just wrap the recipe and JSON from string. And then we've got an add-in. And the add-in gets the start day from this week add-in and then does the query. It's that value. So here we get back an array of meal plan entries. And it's kind of like derived from the currently selected week. So if we go here, meal plan, we can kind of see like this is the selector is now synced to LiveStore. And it resets, so we refresh, which is the behavior we decided on. So the next part is getting some recipes in there. Oh, here we can see some recipes coming back from the database. And then like hooking this up to the UI. So currently it's still using the mock data, but now we can use the actual recipe instances.
Nice. I had a question in Discord today that I thought would be interesting to answer on stream since we're working with Adam.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me about the use cases for the Atom registry context and like actually accessing the registry context service, and like when that is like useful.
It's useful for when you want to use Atom in your Effect services. So I think in our website we do it in a few places. So the abstract website. One place would be probably the trace services. Do we do it on the Twister? Yeah. So on the Twister, we've grabbed access to the registry here. Yeah, where do we use that? But we have this toast atom, which is an array of pending toasts. Then whenever like an API on the service is called, we are updating this atom using the registry.
So does the...
It's kind of like a ref. We're treating it like a ref in some kind of ways. Mm-hmm. But we can use this with all the other atom APIs.
And what is the behavior for like how this loads on the client? So like when the service loads on the client is when you would actually like have access to the registry, right? I guess what I'm asking is like whenever you have an effect, a atom that is derived from a runtime that leverages like an effect service, is it the runtime that like injects the registry context layer so that all the other services are able to access it? And also
you have the toaster on normal.
And also like how does that work with like rendering? Like does the registry context only exist once like the page is loaded, or like because I know that the effect services are loaded like asynchronously.
Yeah, so when you use atom.runtime and you put layers in here, atom.runtime actually provides the registry to those layers.
Okay.
So these layers can have a dependency on the atom registry, and then atom.runtime will satisfy that. So when you load your atom.runtime, the registry is kind of like threaded through for you. And also if you use like atom.make, you can get the registry here for the context if you want. Registry. There is. Where's him?
And are there concrete cases where using the registry like this directly versus like the get method is like better or worse? Because like if you're creating an atom here, you could just use like the get context method thingy, right?
Yes, so you pretty much always want to use the get in an atom because that sets up the dependency tracking. Whereas if you use the registry, then it doesn't. So you get another atom here, it will set that up as a dependency properly for this atom. So if the runtime, then this will rebuild.
Does updating an atom, I'm assuming that updating an atom from within an effect service will update the dependencies of said atom, right? It won't like depend like okay. So really
registry was updating this toast atom. Any other atom reading or accessing this will get updated too.
So really, it's the primary use case would be like in an effect service that exists outside an atom, where you want to have access to update and manipulate atoms.
Yeah. So the other way of doing this would be to have like a subscription rest inside the service. But that's a little bit more work to integrate with your UI. So I find it nicer just to have an atom that your service kind of like manages.
Interesting. And because the service is loaded asynchronously, Toast's atom is initialized with an empty array. So I guess it's fine.
Probably this could be what I keep alive, but otherwise when the atom is unsubscribed from, it would reset to empty. So that's fine. I think it's okay because Toast Atom is like permanently mounted in the UI.
Right. Interesting. Okay. Sorry for the detour.
Yes, we have this toaster that consumes the Toast Atoms. And it just what does it do? Yeah, it just renders the toast. I think we have something that's like also removing the toast. Probably the toaster. So when we call add toast, render toast. Oh yeah, we have a queue. Anyway, meal plan, we need to get our recipes in here. So here's all the recipes for the current day here. All the entries. We don't need this anymore. For recipes now. I'm not sure about that. Handle add recipe. Well, we still need to work out the recipe form thing. But now we need to work out I guess we need to turn the array of meal entries into like a map or something. Mapping from the day to an array. Or we could just do it right here.
Could we just do it by index? Are we always in order? Oh no, because there's not an entry for every day. We need to access it by date, right?
Yeah, so entry day. Yeah, that is all plot equivalents above. Entry of day and date. That must be the day. Are there other fields on here? We've got day, ID, recipe. Entry. What do we need the index for? We're using it for the key. Entry.id. Just destructure. ID recipe. Your just pick a title, sure.
I think we have a cooking time field.
We've got a total time. So kind of only want to join this if we have both. Right, do we even want this information? Oh, yeah, okay. Well, the thing is, the surveys could probably, but at some point we'll probably add like scaling the rest of it. Really heavily progress that hide us. So now we'll keep this. So here we need potentially an array. Option. Met versus a time. So on empty array on some, there would be duration dot format items. What else are we doing for formatting? We're going to recipe and go look for total previous time minutes. Yeah. Recipe serving things up. Yes.
Why is servings null and total time? Oh, it's because that's coming from the database, but total time's computed, right?
Yeah. Handle remove recipe. Get rid of that. I guess it'll be handle remove entry. We get access to commit here. Handle remove entry ID string commit. There is in that new plan remove. It's just sunny. The recipes, no real spread. Okay. Data entries. And cool have the recipe selector. We'll probably go for a modal. Sorry, under there. Where our type areas. Here's the. So we still want the add button, but we don't know what it's going to do here. Just one more type area. What are we looking at this? Great. Remove button doesn't work. I don't remember. It's just it does work, but it's a reactivity issue. Does that mean that query is not reactive? Oh yeah.
Well, right now it's only reactive on the week, right?
Yeah, it's not. Looks like
we need to set. Yeah, there's a LiveStore thing for this, right?
Yeah, store.
We had found it the last time. It was like an option. If you go back, I think there's like a third object you can open or a second object.
Like add a helper from here that sets up rank variables, just like does this. It finalizes stuff for you. There's store.subscribe. Yeah. So basically, we just need to do that. Oops. Sum result equals this. What am I subscribing to again? Code query. Query. Right. Okay, we synced. We just need to do this plus button, which is going to be interesting. Perfect. On our to-dos, we had add box or one problem. So here, instead of ghost, yeah. That's better. That's a better. Maybe I prefer this actually.
Yeah, I don't mind this UI.
Let's switch in the mode office. All right, shared 11. Modal, or maybe like a bottom sheet. What do we got in here?
Drawer.
Drawer? I can't see a modal in here. Dialogue.
I think it's like a... Yeah.
Right, drawer. No, what one? And then we're going to need a form. Well, we don't think a way of searching our recipes, right?
I don't think we have one currently, no.
In our drawer, we need to have a way of selecting and searching recipes. I wonder if now we can just borrow this list and add like a select button. So we want index. Or the recipe, we're going to put a recipe list. Little domain. Or recipe list. So we can pull that. We need no results. Use search query. Yeah, I can make that. Result for area. Here's search query. And then we remove the recipe list. Oh, yeah. And then use our new one. Recipe list from we'll get back to our list. And use Henry. Because Alright. So we need a way of doing a variant or selecting. Then maybe like arms for this. I guess I kind of want to like not share the same search query as the homepage.
Does it get reset when you navigate or no?
I'm pretty sure it's sticky. Persistent. So maybe you already could pass in your own search query item. Straight query helper. We go through it. Or maybe we have what variants for this query.
Sorry, I was answering a question.
Okay.
We are still working on being able to select recipe cards.
No.
Okay.
I'm just ripping out a state from this. So now we know need the pushes and and speed button. Yeah, I guess we can show that soon. Then if we pass all select term. If we have on select, then we replace the on case.
Will that override the navigation behavior?
We undefined if we don't provide it.
No, I mean, if you do provide it, it won't, like, it'll prevent navigation through the prevent default thing.
Yeah, that will disable the link, which is what we want.
Yeah.
And then we just add some button here if select is provided. So what have we got here? We've got a flex row. That's here. Some select and from here we can put, I guess, the button. Arrow. Arrow. Branch. There, we'll need to fix the color for a page, most likely. Yeah. Nice. Create spread query. New term. Yeah, so that's great. Now we need to add a drawer, and we need to add search. So I think for search we don't need the search date in the database because it's interior. So we do something similar to our meal plan stuff. Right here. Right. This will be meal plan Build planner spaces while I'm running. And then query string. And I guess we'll just copy this. Query. We don't need sort by. I guess we'll just default to order by title. And then branded it. Branded it. Same name? Yeah, sure. Guess we'll wait for it in here. Get rid of it. It's wrong. Get rid of that's all. Where copy paste. That's good. Paste. Bind values. And then where this is going to be the query. Trim query. Yeah, so we have a query. And then return us to the end of the item. Some spot for variable string. So here we get query. We're doing get build play or misfits query item. Now we've got string. Search query. Cool. And now we've got a list of recipes.
Nice.
I think by this stage, the store will already be loaded, so we can use just a plain atom.make store. Yeah, let's go get or dot or what is it? Yeah, we don't need a result anymore. More three or still a result because we're in effect. Are we running any effects in here? No.
I think you just have an effect.function untraced. It's the only thing left.
And now you just got a plain things, plain arrays. I think we can try sync this up.
Let's do it.
So the first thing we need is to render on drawer, mirror, and then absorbers. I guess this would be a meal zone actually. That would be. We try and make this generic. Call it recipe selector or something. Okay. Select recipe product. So you do drawer, you have a trigger, and then content. I guess the trigger will be open. Drawer trigger. Open. So you would pass in like your button here. And then you would have your drawer contents. This is from select. Here you would get a recipe. Recipe board. Let's just copy the words. And you're absolutely sure. This would be select recipe. Do I need them? Try it out. Submit. Don't really have a submit button. We just want to cancel. And then we'll need some content. There we go.
You can put it in between the header and footer.
Yeah, so just be a standard class. So we'll need a search box. Let's see, input. We'll make that a separate component. Input. Just so we're not re-rendering the entire drawer all the time. Query, set query, use Adam. And that will be meal slam recipe. Sorry, Adam. Adam. Input. Values. Let's chop that from here. Maybe we'll just get it rendering so we can see what it looks like. We go to reset the plan. And if we go to our add button, we wrap this with select recipe drawer. And we're just helps it out. So let's do it. It's just we don't sub that. ID commit event help you plan event. So the ID day. Wait for it to be search box.
Cool.
Will not be a descendant of button.
We had this problem somewhere else, and I forget how we solved it.
It's child.
Oh, that's right. Go to add recipe trigger. Yeah, go there. Go there. There's a prop we have to. There's something we have to do. Go to add recipe trigger.
We have something in the rest benefits.
Yes. So
in this case, we're just directly passing in the buttons. So we just need to recheck numbers. Add receipt button.
Yeah, it would have to be a separate component that you spread props into, I guess.
Okay.
Unless this works with render props, but I don't think it does. We'd have to make it work.
Header select press field C button. So I need to
basically just pass in all the props unless we have something specific. Like you might want to separate on click, but I think
I don't think we need on click because
yeah, you could probably just pass in all the props then.
and that was here. Let us be on.
No. Is there anything else that we did?
Maybe we just want. You kind of want to style it ourselves. Was there anything else that we did? No. As child.
Can you, instead of doing the children prop, can you actually put it in as a child? I know it's the same thing, but
Yeah, sure. So in your button. Well, there is no button. There is no nested button here.
there is no spoon.
Okay. I'll read this properly. It's further down. You're looking in the wrong place.
Oh, maybe it's the drawer close thing.
Yeah. I'm still okay with that change. Nice.
Okay.
Continue to add some width constraints there.
We could probably use a similar set of styles that we have on the homepage for the input. No.
Yeah, if this. It's base 1 4. There you go. That's right, put that here. Div class name. And then we need to close that here. Okay. If we mix it up, clicks. Yeah. Robots using grid. Weird. It's not the same as their example.
What if he uses the exact same classes that they have? Oh, that's weird. It looks better, but
so we're just need to book some data in on that guy. And we can keep it left behind this one. Should probably put a label on that. Or just add a placeholder. Placeholder. 2%.
see you, Tim. You better plug in right this moment.
Yeah, let's make it much of it. You wrote one? Good.
Thank God.
Thank God.
I feel like we'll probably wrap up soon anyways, but
yeah. We'll just get that list component in now and see if it's working. Yeah, that's fun. So in here, we do recipe list. Search results. Return recipe list. Use Adam value. And then response would be use Adam value equal and it is. Only Rick Park songs selection there. So I think if we right, that's the height of this, make it scrollable. So in here we maybe up here. We do a div. We do a height of the address region. And then the flow is white. And here flex. Next color get whatever. We can flip. That work, did it? So we just hook up the dismiss on select somehow.
I think in the docs they probably have something we can hook into.
Double click. Try to read dismiss. Those. Those.
We could look at the implementation of drawer close.
Drawer.
I don't know if they publish their.
It's a story export here. If we look at vol. This very throws unmaintained. We need a pro API for closing. We can.
Guess we could do it in a managed way.
Yeah, but then there was an item maybe because there's an open boolean here.
I say we hook up close and we call it a day.
Yeah. So we just do use and alone. Remember if it's using it over. Don't like also be open and bread. False.
What is the utility of Atom? I guess we'll see as you work on this, but
it's like a really lightweight state container. that you can pass around. So here, open is open. Let's use Atom ref. Open ref. Oh, did it? Open. Change your other brackets. So here it is. And then we can pass the open ref to raw strip. So we don't need a ref. And then we say cross open set open equals use dates. Delete works. Head works. Good.
Nice. Pretty good.
Very good. Add button. Search modal. So like it needs some visual adjustments.
Yeah, it definitely needs a little tweaking, but the functionality's there, which is good.
Maybe if we just move that in and make it orange. And then we just need to add some more recipes and try it with more. Cancel works.
Nice.
Adjust. Arrow button. Select recipe items. Yeah, put this off now.
Nice. I like it. Well, hope everybody enjoyed this episode of ChEffect, and we will see all of you folks the next time. Cheers, everybody.
There, everyone.